Welcome, ladies, to the Fit for His Glory Sisters Coach webinar. We are so excited that you are here tonight. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Hopefully, you will get lots of your questions answered about coaching, and it'll just be an inspiring time to just get to hear our stories and a little bit about us. I think we've got some incredible women on here tonight who are going to be sharing their stories, everybody with a different background and season of life. And that's one of the things that I love about our team is that we really are made up of so many different stories and backgrounds and even different parts of the country and upbringings, but all with the same root of we love Jesus and we love fitness and we want to serve women in fitness and ultimately point them to Jesus. And that is our goal and that is our heartbeat, no matter if we're in college or if we're, in our 30s. Like, we're any season of life, we want to make sure that we're doing that and we're serving people well. And so we're excited that you're here. We're excited that you're interested in learning more about coaching. And like I said, hopefully we'll be able to answer some of your questions here tonight. If you're on here live, we did drop the schedule in the chat box. So that way, if you just kind of want to know what's coming and who's going to be speaking tonight, you can take a look at that. And then I'll also drop that on the YouTube comments. So that way that you have that there as well and you can kind of see what you can expect. So let's go ahead and get started because we're already 8 minutes in and I haven't even shared my story yet. So for those of you who I don't know, my name is Courtney Foster. I am the mama bear of the Fit for His Glory Sisters. Basically, that means people are like, mama bear. Basically, that just means A, I'm the oldest because I think that might be true. And B, I'm the upline of everyone here. So whether I'm their direct upline or their upline's upline, somehow along the way, I'm either their mama or their grandmama or something like that. Great grandmama, I guess. So think sorority life, but don't think sorority life because it's nothing like a sorority, but you get the point. So I have been a coach for 6.5 years. 6 years in this past April. And I actually, this past February, went full-time as a Beachbody coach. I started this business a year into marriage. Brian and I got married in 2013. And about a year later in 2014, I started this business. I remember sitting with him at dinner and he was asking me, Carolyn, what's your dream job? And I was like, I love women and I love fitness. And I really don't know how that meshes together, but I know there's something there. I had been working in corporate America at that point for 10 years. So I worked full-time for Red Bull Energy Drink and I managed their collegiate and sampling program, their marketing program here in Middle and East Tennessee. So I was traveling kind of all around the state, up to 5 to 6 hours to the other side of the state and staying overnight every week. And while I loved my job and I loved the flexibility and getting to work with college students and mentor them, I didn't love the schedule in the sense of leaving my kids at home with my husband one night a week. And I remember that first night that Emmeline was about 3 or 4 months old and she got sick with a fever and I was supposed to be leaving that day to go to an event and it was going to be a 2-night stay and I was going to be pumping every hour and we were camping. I was going to have to go back to my car and pump and leave her and she was sick. And I just told my boss, like, I cannot go, but I just remember that feeling. And from that moment on, I was like, my why changed. And I was like, I have to make this business work because I never want to feel this again. I don't want someone to tell me where I have to be and what I have to do and jeopardize losing my job just because I want to be with my child who's sick. She literally texted me back and said, can't her husband take care of her? No, I'm her mom. So I just remember that feeling and I was like, I just never want that to happen again. And so I worked my booty off literally, early nights, early mornings, late nights, nap time hustles. Any little pockets of time that I could get to work on this business because I knew that there was something here. And I think the thing that I love about Beachbody is that Brian and I had tried starting several other businesses before, and it was always needed more money. It always needed, $1,000 here, $3,000 here, $5,000 here. It was literally like a money sucker. And But I knew that I had something because I could literally start this business for $15 a month, and I don't have to like create the workout programs or come up with the new ideas or be researching like what's the next innovative thing in health and fitness. Like, we have people that do all those things, and we get to do the fun part. We get to do the marketing, which to me is the fun part, and, you know, serve people and help them get results. And these programs work. And so I don't have to sit here worrying that, you know, did I curate a workout that's going to actually get them results? Because these workouts work and it's going to get them results, period. We know that. And it's scientifically proven. And so I worked really hard to make this business happen. And here I am now. We just had our second baby last September, and I went back to work for 6 weeks after my maternity leave, and I was able to peace out right before COVID, which is actually kind of a blessing in disguise. And was also crazy because Beachbody has literally grown by 300 to 400% this year. And so God has just been so faithful in that stepping out. But there's no way possible I could be home with my kids if it wasn't for this business. And I like to be really transparent about that. That's not everyone's goal, and that's okay if it's not your goal. If you're just like, hey, I just kind of want to be a hobby coach, we have lots of people with lots of different goals on our team. But for me, that was my goal because I knew that, like, my husband's job, his career was kind of all over the place at the time. Not a bad thing. That was just the path that God had him on. And so I knew that for me, like, staying home was not in the deck of cards. Like, it wasn't going to happen unless it was way down the road. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to wait around for it. I was like, I got to take action and I got to make it happen. And, you know, some people don't like the word hustle, but like for me, if I have to hustle in order to be home with my kids, then like I'm going to hustle in those little pockets of time that I have. I don't think that's bad. I think you can work with a holy hustle. And so that's what I've done. And that's kind of my story. So now we have a team of over 350 coaches, which is insane. I get this question a lot. I probably personally have about 50 personally sponsored coaches. And then that's just all kind of the trickle down. And that's kind of when we talk about like being an upline, that kind of all falls underneath. So it's been an incredible gift. You know, the first question I really want to hit on, and we're each going to be taking a question, just so you know, sharing our story and then hitting on a specific topic, is what is Beachbody? And so you might be hopping on this call tonight. You might be like, hey, Caroline talked about starting your own faith and fitness business. Like, what is this? I don't even know what Beachbody is. So Beachbody are the creators of P90X, Insanity, 21 Day Fix, you know, like pretty much any home fitness workout program you can think of, for the most part. We came around about 20 years ago. Basically, Tony Horton was working out with, he was a personal trainer for Carl Deichler, who is our CEO. And Carl was like, man, you are kicking my butt. And he was loving the workouts. He's like, we should film these and people can buy like it wasn't even DVD at the time. It was like, you know, I can't even think of the word right now. You put it in the VCR. Why can't I think of it? Tapes, I guess. That just shows that I am a millennial. But anyways, so, you know, he turned them into home videos and basically started selling them. And about 6 months in, they're like, let's call people and let's get some before and afters. Let's ask them how the program's going, how they're liking it, if they have more energy. Calling people. Nobody had opened the box. Like, people are like, oh, I kind of forgot I had that. I ordered it in the middle of the night when I was, you know, a commercial came up and I was eating pizza on my couch and was like, should probably do something with my life. Or, you know, I was desperate, but then I just never finished it, or I started it, it was too hard and I never finished it. And what he realized was like, okay, cool, we have this amazing program, but if we don't have people helping people get results, then we have nothing. And I think in a world where everything is becoming digital, having that human interaction, having that person to check in on you and text you and encourage you and just know what to say is so important. And it's something that sets us apart. You know, people will say, oh, well, what about Apple's coming out with this fitness thing, or, you know, Peloton? It's like, yeah, those things are great, but they're not a coach who's checking in on you and asking you how your kids are doing and how balancing, you know, working out with your kids running around is going, and giving you tips on how to wake up earlier, and like really truly coming beside people and helping them get results. I could talk about this all day. I don't want to take up all of the time, but that's what Beachbody is. And I'm going to let Erin jump into her story.
Thanks. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, great. My name is Erin Barrow, if I have not met you yet. I live in Central Illinois with my husband, Jason. We've been married for 7 years, and we have Bo, who is 5. Elsie is 3. And I feel super fancy because we just had family pictures. So that's why I have my hat on like Caroline. But I have been coaching for almost 3 years now. It'll be 3 years on November 27th. So can't believe it. Time is flying. But Beachbody came into my life because the only way that I can describe my fitness journey is like this. It has been so up and down for my entire life. I've always been overweight. I've always struggled with the fad diets and like Pinteresting new meal plans to try and like start gung-ho on Monday, and by Thursday I'm eating pizza for every meal. Like that's been my life. And it all came to a halt when I had Elsie, my youngest. So I was working full time, and then I was able to quit my job when she was born, which is an amazing blessing to be at home. But I just found myself at that point, and I feel like we've all been there as a woman, as a mom, just where like we have to draw that line in the sand and say no more with our health and fitness. Like I can't live the rest of my life like this. And that's where I was at. Postpartum is hard. You don't look like yourself. You don't feel like yourself. And I just knew that like nobody was going to tell me to get up off the couch. Like that was going to have to be me. And I had to take control of my life. So, enter Beachbody. I had been watching Caroline probably for almost a year at that point. She knows that when I share my story, I always say I just wanted her life. She was happy at this point in my life. I was not joyful. Even though I had all the things, the husband, the house, the kids, healthy kids, I was able to quit my job. Like I had it all. I just was not joyful and not confident. I was watching Caroline every single day doing workouts in her garage with her little girl around her feet. And I was like, well, that's doable. Like we look at these like fitness influencers on Instagram and like, wow, they have a 6-pack and like they spend 3 hours at the gym every day. And like, that will never be me. And I'm okay with that, but it's really hard to like measure up to that. So when we see, like, that's why I know that this was a God thing, because I watched Caroline do this just in a really down to earth way. And I was like, okay, if she can do this with her kid and like all that stuff, so can I. So prior to that, me and my husband, Jason, we talked about Beachbody for a long time. We prayed about it. And I knew that when I quit my job, I wanted to do something. I like to work. I like to be involved. I like to talk to adults during the day. And that was all kind of came to a halt when I quit my full-time job. So I knew I wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to make an income from home, and Beachbody really just kind of felt right. The number one reason I was skeptical is because it was an MLM, and that phrase gets thrown around a lot. And I was skeptical. First of all, I didn't know if Caroline was even a real person. Second of all, I was like, I think they're probably just going to like take all my money and this is a big scam. So we like talked about it. And finally I just kind of talked Jason into it. I'm like, I think this is legit. And I just saw that from her story. I saw that like, this changes lives, like nothing against like selling lipstick or whatever, but like this can have a generational impact on our families. Like, because we as moms get healthy and wives and women get healthy, that translates into our husbands and our relationships and our kids and their kids. Like, I can get behind that. I can definitely 100% get behind that. So I, sent that first message to Caroline. Turns out she's a real person and was super nice and like actually was like really kind and helpful. And I signed up on November 27, 2017. I had a 2.5-year-old and a 2-month-old. It was crazy to say the least, but that is not an excuse to not go forward with something God's calling you to. It's just not, because life is never going to not be crazy. That's a shout out to Courtney Foster, because if she was on here, she would say that. But anyway, so that was 3 years ago. Since then, it's just been the best thing. And I don't want to cry because I don't cry, but Beachbody has just touched every aspect of my life, my marriage, my parenting, my own health and fitness, my own confidence, my walk with Jesus. It's all been impacted by this community, these women, yeah, and it's just, I'm forever grateful. I'll be here for life. So you will see me here forever and ever. But I am going to speak a little bit about just like, what is coaching? What do we actually do? I'm going to give just like a 1-minute rundown of what my day looks like as a stay-at-home mom. We all have different stories. So it looks a little bit different for all of us. And that's awesome, because coaching can fit into our lives no matter where we're at. Sorry, I have a fly buzzing around my new hat. Okay, so as a stay-at-home mom, owning my mornings early in the morning, nap time is a big part of when I get my coaching work done. But really, like, the heart of what we do is we come alongside women and support them in their health and fitness journey. Caroline already touched on this, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But Beachbody is such an amazing, they have so many resources for us. We don't have to curate workout programs. Personal trainers do that, that are on staff with Beachbody. We have certified nutritionists that create these meal plans and these meal courses that we as coaches can pair with women and walk beside them and hold them accountable. And honestly, like, being a coach is really just being an amazing cheerleader and the best accountability partner. That's like the best way I can describe it. And it's such a blessing because, like, I feel like all of us know what to do. Like, yeah, I know I need to get my body moving. Yeah, I know I need to eat more vegetables and less soda or whatever, but not all of us have that support and that accountability. And that's what we as coaches do. And it's just the best thing. So that's what we do. I'm going to throw it over to Anna Bay, who's going to share her story.
Hey y'all. Okay, so I am in Colorado, so it's only 7:20 here, so my child is still awake, and so you'll probably hear Mickey Mouse playing in the background. Actually, if you'll give me 2 seconds, I will turn that off, so that way you don't have to listen to Daisy and Donald Duck bickering in the background. But if you don't know me already, my name is Anna Bay. I am a boy mama and military wife. We currently live in Colorado Springs. Just moved here from Georgia a few months ago. So getting used to the cold and the not Southern life. So I have been a coach for a little over 1.5 years, going on 2 years. And my story looks a little different because I actually did these programs for 3 years before I ever coached. I started these programs back when Keith and I had gotten engaged. I had gained 30 pounds in like one summer. Prior to that, I'd never had any issue with weight gain or anything like that. I was always a tall, lanky kid. But then, you get into a relationship, you gain that happy weight. We were in Pensacola, Florida, just living it up, eating out all the time, all those things. And I had no healthy relationship with food or that background. I came from a very poor family. We ate a lot of hamburger helper, lived in the South, that kind of thing. So I had no background in learning how to eat well and feel my body well. And I was always very active growing up, so I never had to try with that either. So anyways, started these programs, answered a Facebook ad, and had no idea that it was Beachbody. Of course, I'd heard of Insanity and all that, but I never connected the two, which most people don't. So signed up randomly. We really could not afford it. We put it on a credit card, but I knew that something had to give. And Keith was going off to SEER training for a month, which is a training where I basically don't talk to him for a month. He's living in the woods. And I was moving us to Georgia by myself. So started that, lost 10 pounds in the first month, fell in love with eating healthy, fell in love with fueling my body well, fell in love with working out. But I wasn't on this team. And so I didn't really have that really good support system that I never knew that I needed. And if you're a military wife or you know any military wives and you move a lot, you know that support system is really, really hard to come by. So even though I was loving to work out, so I lost 45 pounds, we got married. I was in the best shape of my life. A year later, of course, that's when you get pregnant, when you're in the best shape of your life. And so at this point, I had Sawyer, and I was about 10 months postpartum, maybe a little bit, like 8 months, when I came across Caroline. And I just kind of pushed it to the side. Like, I kind of figured out that she was doing Beachbody, but I was like, man, I like following her, but whatever. But God just kept nudging on me. At this point, I was working. Well, actually, I wasn't working after Sawyer. I had worked retail in Georgia for a little while. I was being a stay-at-home mom, which I loved, but I have a background in psychology. I was actually going to grad school for substance abuse counseling before I felt the call to be a stay-at-home mom. So I have that like desire to help people. I have it in my DNA. It's there. It's really strong. It's a God-given trait that he gave me to really want to help others. And so pair that with postpartum depression and coming across a coach like Caroline, who is using this, using her love for fitness to love on others and to help others, and, having that community. And I was seeing those Zoom calls and all of that kind of stuff. And he just kept knocking on my heart. And I whatever. No, I'm not doing that. It's an MLM. It's gross. I'm pretty sure we've all said that at some point in time. And I finally just gave in, messaged her after a conversation with Keith, and he was like, what's the worst that can happen? What is she going to tell you? She doesn't want you on your team, on her team. So messaged her, set up a call with her. And after a call with her, I just knew like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is my way to stay at home with my little man and be at all the field trips and do all the things, but also get to provide for my family while also getting to give me that fix of helping people, that thing I so strongly desire to do. And while all at one time, not even realizing I was going to get this, but getting that community that I needed so desperately, because this is a community of women that love me and pray for me. And nothing changes when I move. I could move overseas and this relationship with them would still be just as strong, because I'm still going to hop on Zoom calls with them. I'm still going to text them every day. And for me, as someone who moves every 2 to 3 years, that was absolutely huge. And that was something, y'all, that I didn't even realize I was going to get out of this, but it's completely changed everything because of that support system. So I've absolutely loved coaching. Just like Erin said, it really has touched every single part of my life. Like, I'm a better mom, I'm a better wife, because I still get to stay at home with Sawyer, but because I have this outlet and I have this thing for me, I have more energy, and I'm just more joyful because I'm getting that outlet that I need while also being at home with him. So, just like Erin said, it's touched my relationship with the Lord, because this is not only an accountability group for your fitness and your health, it's a huge accountability group for your relationship and your walk with Christ. Like, we will not hesitate to call you out and make sure that you're spending that time with Jesus, because if you hear any of us talk about it, that's a lot more important than getting your workout in the morning. So it's just been such a blessing. My husband will tell you I'm a completely different person than I was 2 years ago before I started coaching because of this team. So with all that being said, I get to talk about what makes our team different. And I love talking about this because I was on a different team. I was a discount coach for a couple of years just because I'm military, so I don't have to pay the coach fee every month, which is amazing. And I love that Beachbody does that because it is such a great career opportunity for military women. It's very hard to find jobs as a military wife moving, because they know you're going to move, so they just won't give you the job, but that's a whole other subject. So because I didn't have to do that, of course you wanted the discount. And so I was in that team, and not that there was anything wrong with that team, but I can speak on the contrast, at least from my perspective on it. This team really is a family. Like, they are your prayer warriors. They are your best friends. Like, all of us, we really are friends. We really do talk every single day, and not just about Beachbody stuff, about life, about Erin sending us pictures the other day of, while she's in Target, about what she should wear for her family photos. Like, all those little things that make that connection so strong. We get to celebrate each other's wins. We get to, like, when we were moving to Colorado Springs and we could not find a house, we went through 8 offers on houses before we finally found one. And these girls were praying next to me every single step of the way. They cried with me when we finally got a house. It's going to make me cry thinking about it, but it really does make a difference when you put God in the center of your business. It makes a difference with community. It makes a difference with your customers. It makes a difference with how you market things. It takes the gross salesy part of an MLM out, because that's not our intention. When you stop focusing on draining somebody's pocketbook because of your rank or your gain out of it, and you start focusing on sharing the gospel and truly helping women, and getting those texts from mama saying, I had energy today to get outside and play with my kids, and I haven't done that in years, or I fit into those postpartum jeans and I felt so good going on a date with my husband. When you focus on that rather than how much they're paying you and what they're buying, it really does change everything. And you will find that in every layer of this team, no matter how high up you go. I love it because even Caroline's coach, Michelle, she works his way. And so even when you go above her, you still find that deep relationship with Christ and that putting him in the center. So to me, that makes the biggest difference. Before I came across Caroline, I never even thought twice about coaching because I didn't want to be a part of a team that was that classic scammy MLM. But when I came across her and I realized just how different it was, that's what made me even think about it in the first place. So I can honestly say it really is so different. Of course, I cannot speak for every single team. I know there are other amazing Christian teams out there, but for me personally, it made all the difference. So just very short, because I can talk about it all day, but to me, that makes the biggest difference. So who is next? Let's see. Next is Courtney. Courtney's not here.
Keely.
Go ahead, Keely.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Keely Dishman. I know that my Zoom ID says Keely Dennis, but I recently got married almost 3 months ago. We've been married for about 2.5 months. So I have a little bit different background than everybody else on this call just because I am one of the youngest on our team as a whole. I'm 20 years old, and right now I am a senior in college. I will graduate in May of next year, so I am still in school. We live in a parsonage because my husband, Zach, is pastoring 2 small little Methodist churches in central Kentucky, and so I am pastor's wife, which is not out of the ordinary for me since I grew up in a ministry family, but that is what we are doing right now. He's pastoring. We're both still in school right here in central Kentucky. So backstory on me just a little bit. I played soccer in high school, so I've always been super active. My mom is a runner. My mom and my dad both have done half marathons. They have always ran. They've always been active and always set that example for our family. So I played soccer in high school, was always super active, like I said. But once my senior soccer season ended in like October of my senior year, I told myself that I deserved a break from exercise because I had worked so hard for so long. And so that turned into about a 6 to 8 month not doing anything, working out. And I gained weight, and I just found myself before my senior year ended just being so miserable because not only working out is obviously so good for your physical health and your mental health, but I just love working out. It's always been a passion of mine, and I had stopped doing it. So in April of my senior year, I was like, you know what, Lord, you say that my body is a temple and I'm not treating it like that, so I'm going to start doing that. And for a solid month, my mindset was right, but I went about everything in such the wrong way. I counted every single calorie. I ran every single day. I used the MyFitnessPal app, and I'm not saying that app is from the enemy, but it was not good for me. If I went over my calorie goal for the day, I would run the next day until I had burned off the excess calories. And so for a whole month, I did that 1,200 calorie a day diet. I portion controlled everything, and I can tell you that the white cheddar Cheetos, 32 of them is a serving size for 160 calories because I ate 32 white cheddar Cheetos for lunch with a turkey wrap every single day for 30 days. And guess what? It worked. In a month, I lost 10 pounds. It worked. But was I able to be consistent with it? Absolutely not. As soon as I stopped counting those calories and stopped doing what I was doing, I stayed in decent shape, but I started to gain some of that weight back. And so then I went to college, and let me tell you, everything changed when I went to college. I had a new routine. I was serving full time in our campus ministry. I was busy. I was up early, late nights, all the things. And I found myself a year later, I had the freshman 10 to 15. I told myself I would not do that, but there I was. And honestly, probably most of my friends, nobody from my high school came to my college. So I had all new friends. And honestly, I don't know if any of them knew that I loved working out or that I loved health and fitness or that I played soccer in high school, just because that was not me my freshman year of high school. And so I found myself a year later in the same exact spot, like, Lord, I know I'm supposed to treat my body as a temple, but I'm not doing that. One day I'll go on Instagram and I see this random account called Fit and Freedom. And I was like, what the heck is this all about? So I click on it, and it is Courtney Foster. And she's actually my coach now. And I see that she has, all of her posts are like exactly what I was preaching to myself a year earlier. And exactly all the things that I had in my mind before about, you know, treating our bodies as temples and being healthy for the glory of God and all of these things. And so I just followed her. I didn't think anything about it. And then this girl messages me. I was like, whoa, I didn't know what to think. She just messaged me. And so we started talking, and I'm like the dream client, because within like 48 hours, I was signed up, ready to go, knew I needed this. And so I started, and I did 21 Day Fix, 21 Day Fix Extreme. I lost some weight. I was feeling great. And listen, I was in college, so I wasn't sticking to a perfectly portioned meal plan. My story is a lot different than that, because I was in a dorm room, and that is just not possible sometimes. But I was still able to do these programs. I loved the community. I loved the accountability. I loved the Christ-centered focus. I loved everything about it. But everything in me was saying, no, I'm not going to coach because that was so uncomfortable for me. I hate social media. I barely posted on Instagram before this. I was not in a very supportive community around me at the time. I was in a really toxic relationship that I didn't even know was toxic. But long story short, I didn't want to do this. But one day God made it so evident that this is something that he was putting in my life. I said yes. And I say that for the first like 4 months of my coaching journey, don't follow my lead on anything. Just don't do anything that I did in the first 4 months of my coaching journey, because I was scared out of my mind. I let what everybody thought get in the way of what I was doing. But then, you know, some things changed in my life. I left the relationship I was in, finally got out of that, and I said yes to coaching fully. And I showed up, and I was consistent, like I knew God was calling me to be. And through coaching itself is not what did it, but through coaching, God has absolutely changed my life. Through these relationships, through stepping out of my comfort zone and serving in this way, my life has absolutely changed. And if you ask anybody in my life who was there before coaching and now, they can tell you that it's not just a physical change, but everything in my life has changed because of this opportunity. So really quick, my question is, what makes a great coach? And I have 5 things, just super quick, that I think make a great coach. And I wrote them down because I would forget. The first thing, first and foremost, is dependence on Jesus, because none of us can do this on our own. We don't claim to do it on our own. We have the support of this team, and we also have Jesus, and who is our strength. So before anything else, before any kind of qualification, you need to be dependent on Jesus, because every day in this business, just like anything else, it's not always easy. It's not always just something you're ready to show up to. But if you're dependent on him for your strength and instead of anything else, that's going to keep you going. So the number one thing that you can have as a coach is dependence on Jesus. Also because it will make you uncomfortable at some point. And if you don't have him, then you're going to be a lot likely to not do what he's calling you to do. But we know that with him, uncomfortability leads to growth. So it's so important to be dependent on him. The second thing is a willingness to learn. Because just like anything, when you start something new, there is training. There is a learning curve. There is things that you have to adapt to. Like some of our lingo as coaches, you might not automatically understand, but give it a couple of weeks, give it a month or two, and you're going to be speaking our language. But if you're not willing to learn and you're not willing to grow and be teachable, then there's going to be a problem. So being willing to learn is huge as a coach. The third thing is your personality. You need to be you, because people who want to sign up with me are going to be different than people who want to sign up with you, and vice versa. I'm not going to be able to serve people that you might be able to serve, but God has called each of us to be uniquely us. He's given us gifts, and he's given us personalities that are different and can serve different people. So we're not asking you to become just like us, or the person you're signing up with isn't asking you to become just like them. They're asking you to show up as you to serve the women that you're called to serve. So the third thing, you need to be willing to be you. 4, you need to be an encourager. I think it was Aaron said earlier, basically your job is to be their number one cheerleader and just accountability. And so you need to be able to encourage. You don't have to know all the answers all the time, because none of us do. You just need to be their cheerleader. You need to be somebody they can count on, somebody they can come to for when they're down and just need somebody to pick them up. So you're a cheerleader as a coach. And then the last thing I'll talk about is a great coach is consistent and disciplined. Because like I said, just like anything, there's some days you wake up, you don't want to work out, or you don't want to go to work, or you don't want to watch the same movie with your kid over and over again. But those things are things we have to do sometimes. They take discipline. So sometimes as a coach, you might not want to show up for your workout or show up for your girls, but it takes discipline. And also, if you're looking to build this as a business, it takes consistency, because if you look at any business over any course of time, whatever it is, the main thing that sets successful businesses apart is consistency over time. And so some days you're going to have awesome days where you feel like you're on a mountain, and some days it might be harder and you feel like you're in more of a valley. But the businesses that are successful are those that are consistent. And in order to be consistent, you have to have discipline on those really hard days. So those are my 5 things that I think make a great coach: dependence on Jesus, a willingness to learn, your personality, encouragement, and consistency. That's all I've got.
Okay, hey y'all, my name is Shay. For those of you who do not know, I'm just gonna go ahead and say right now, allergies hit hard today. I don't know what happened. I blame it on the mask all day in the hospital. So I'm just gonna cross my fingers I don't go sneezing. If I do, I'll mute it and I'll be back, I promise. But anyways, a little bit about me. So I am from a small town in North Mississippi. I have been here my entire life. Huge homebody. I really honestly wouldn't want to go anywhere else. Lord calls us somewhere, we will. But anyways, I am married. I've been married for about 2.5 years to my husband, Caleb. We don't have any kiddos yet, but I actually work full-time in the hospital. So I'm a physical therapist. So I feel like it's really cool, the group of ladies we have on here, because I feel like there's just different people from different seasons. And so my season is completely different than the other ones. And that's just really cool to hear from. But a little bit about my story and how I got into this. So it's always funny, like Anna Bay mentioned insanity and how she didn't like combine the two with Beachbody. And that's kind of how I even got into any of this. My senior year of high school, our basketball coach made us do insanity after 2 hours of basketball practice, which is literally craziness. I don't know how my body handled that, but it did at the time. And so that's kind of how I got into even like learning who Shanti was. And even then I didn't know it was Beachbody. I had no idea. I just knew insanity. I knew Shanti. So as I graduated high school, I'd always been active. I even cheered in college, but I knew I wanted something, because even with that, I wasn't, constantly moving my body as much as I had been in high school. And so I knew I wanted something to continue on. And so I got online, ordered Insanity, because it was the one thing I knew about. And that's just kind of my fitness journey, like through college, was I followed Shanti, literally followed Shanti, like got Insanity Asylum and the next one. And there's like 3 or 4 videos that he came out with in a 5 or 6 year period. And so I had just kind of used these programs in my dorm room, in my parents' living room, literally anywhere and everywhere. And that I kind of mixed that with going into the gym. But during that process, like 2 things happened. I'd kind of created this unhealthy relationship with health and fitness. Just like Keely said, I used my Fitness Pal, and it was not good for me either. It became very restrictive, obsessive in a way. And so, there was that side of it. There was the side of, I was a college cheerleader my first 2 years of college, and I'm not putting down on that, but we literally had to stand in our sports bra and Spanx and have an image test. And so that just really distorted like my view of health and fitness and what, how I saw that. And so somewhere along the way, I came across Caroline and started following her Instagram page. It's funny, all of us are like, I have no clue how I found her, but she just popped up one day and I started following. And I really started to change the way that I viewed my own health and fitness journey, to be honest with you, because I saw how she used this and I kind of started catching on. I was like, wait, I've done that workout. Like, I know what she's doing. And kind of started to pair the two together, figuring out what Beachbody was. And but anyways, I followed her, and it's really funny, for almost 4 years, just along her journey, seeing how she loved health and fitness, but even more than that, she loved Jesus, and she wanted to just be a light and shine a light. And so it really kind of transformed my own view of health and fitness. And so fast forward, I just continued to use these things through college. I ended up doing the Beachbody on Demand when it came out years later, and took it with me everywhere through PT school, through clinicals. Literally, I use these programs this whole entire time. And finally got through PT school, got through wedding planning, got through starting my first job and all this stuff, and just kind of felt the Lord really placing it on my heart to reach out. And like, I don't know, I just started seeing myself doing something similar because I loved health and fitness. I have my doctorate degree in health and fitness, like that's something that I've always had a passion for. But throughout college, just my walk with the Lord had really grown and transformed. And I started seeing more purpose and passion in that, and started to realize the freedom that I had gained of surrendering that back to the Lord and finding joy in it again. And so anyways, I gave myself every reason not to do this. They all come back to fear of time, of honestly what people thought about me, because I'm a huge people pleaser, and this was so far out of my comfort zone. If you ask people that I grew up with, they would be like, that's the last thing I saw Shay doing, getting on social media and sharing. I didn't feel equipped in my own health and fitness, in my own walk with the Lord, to be honest. I didn't feel equipped enough to share that. And so I could name every fear out there, y'all. It all comes down to honestly just not surrendering it back to the Lord and walking in obedience and trusting that like what he calls me to, he's going to equip me for. And so I reached out, I did the scary thing, and honestly just there's a lot to my story on how that started. But once I really jumped into coaching and jumped into this community, it just changed so much about everything in my life. And it has been the biggest blessing. I don't say this lightly when I say that I love health and fitness. I love to serve women and love them. But when I look back at this community and how the Lord brought it into my life at literally the perfect time when he knew I was going to need it, it is like it makes me want to cry because these people have been my prayer warriors. They have walked through some hard things with me. And now it's a part of my family. Like literally my husband and I went and spent a weekend with Caroline and Brian like a few weeks ago. And it's just really cool to see how the Lord weaves all that and how he's transformed even my walk with him, from just getting up and being consistent in the word and spending time with him. And so anyways, I could go on. That's just kind of my story, how I got here. I've been coaching for about a year and a half now. I went all in, to be honest with y'all. I still look back and don't really know how this happened, but I took the things Caroline and our team provided, and I just ran with it and surrendered it to the Lord. And it's not easy doing this working full time. It's not. I'm not going to lie and say it is, but it's so cool how if you will really just be disciplined and be intentional with your time, like how much joy comes from what we do as coaches, and what a blessing it is to have this community. And so that's a little bit about my story and how I got here. Really quick, I'm going to talk about the money side of this. I'm not going to go into detail whatsoever because that's a lot. But we all want to know, okay, well, you coach, like, do you make money, or how much money do you spend, and all of this stuff. So it's a question that we want to know. And honestly, I feel like from our team's perspective, it's kind of hard to talk about because we are believers. And I think you could ask every single person, or I know you could ask every single lady on this call. And I know the reason they got into this was not just for the financial income. Like, has it been a huge blessing to so many of us? Absolutely. Caroline's at home, Keely's doing this in college, like this is her job. And like every single one of these ladies have blessings they can share when it comes to the financial aspect, but that's not why we came into it. But we still want to talk about it because while that's not the reason we're here, the Lord has used it to bless us in so many ways. And hopefully you just pour that out and be a blessing to other people even more. I'll say before I start talking about this, I'm not going to read this directly, but Beachbody does have a disclaimer, and they don't guarantee that you're going to have any level of success. Like, you have to show up, you have to put in the work, you have to be disciplined to just use your skills and use them wisely, and to use the things your team gives you. But if you show up, if you are disciplined in this, if you're consistent, like Keely said, like, you're going to see fruit from that. And it might not be immediate. It might take a lot of time, but I have no doubt that when we are showing up and working for the Lord, we are going to see a harvest. And that might not always be financially. Do not take that the wrong way, but it is also something that can come out of this. So basically, a lot of people, I hear them say, okay, well, I don't want to sign up as a coach because I don't have the money. And so what is so cool is, yes, you do have to sign up to be a coach. You do have to make that commitment. But when I signed up, my goal was just to make my money back that I signed up with. And I did that literally the first month I started coaching, and have, double that, triple that a year and a half into this, which is so, so cool. But we have two main ways you make money as a coach. And starting off, where you're actually going to make your money and see that income, is just from commission. So basically, you signing up people, you getting people, set up with our programs, with our workout programs, plugging them into our community, you actually get 25% of any type of sale. And so you do have to make that initial sale, but just remember, as coaches, like, we don't stop there. Once people join our community, that's when we get to start loving them and serving them. So that's a different story, but just throwing that out there. But initially, like I said, you're going to start making money off that commission. Now, what's really cool about this is if you stay in this and you show up consistently and you start to add people to your team, you start having the opportunity to earn, like, cycle bonuses is what we call them. So basically, once you kind of get two people to come alongside you and join you as a coach, you start to earn these bonuses. And even further from that, once you continue to show up and keep going and adding people, I'm actually working towards this goal. I'm not there yet, but this is what I'm working towards, is once you get two main coaches that really want to run this race with you and start building this business, like, there are quarterly bonuses. And, if you have questions, Caroline is there. She can answer those. But just to know the potential in this business, and I'm going to be transparent and say, I'm not where all these other people are yet. I've come a long way and the Lord has blessed this, but we always have something we kind of can run for. And is what's really cool about this is you have the potential to double your income yearly, which is insane. But anyways, that's just a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to go into the details because I'm not going to throw all these words that get confusing. But just to know that if you show up, if you put in the hard work and you dive into this community, that it can be such a blessing in your life and even in other people's life. And so if y'all have questions about the financial aspect and all of that, please reach out and just ask us. But I'll kind of wrap things up, and a few next steps that we just kind of want to give y'all. If this is something that you've enjoyed listening to, if you have questions, first of all, reach out to the coach that invited you. Ask them. We are open books. We love to talk about this, probably a little too much sometimes, but it's something we're passionate about, and the Lord has just given us so much joy in. And so we are here to answer questions. I lost my train of thought completely. Sorry, y'all. Anyways, reach out, ask questions. If this is something you feel the Lord leading you to, like, I want to ask you, first of all, pray about it. If you are in a marriage, if you are in a family, like, go to your spouse, go to your family, talk about it. Like, this is a family thing, and I truly believe that when you have success in this, it's really because you have that support from your community. But pray about it, make sure it's something you're led to do. But then if you know you're ready to jump in and this is something the Lord is calling you to, reach out. We are happy to talk. We all like to jump on the phone call and just talk through those details with y'all, and kind of explain what this looks like. And just something to throw out there, we run a new coach mentorship at the first of every single month. And so a lot of coaches are like, I have no idea what to do. I'm really scared. I don't know if I can even learn this. And what's cool is we've come together as leaders and we've created this step-by-step, super easy process to help you get started, and so that it's not scary, so that it's not overwhelming. Yes, there's going to be a lot to learn, like Keely said. There's new things, as there is with anything that you kind of set out for, but we have truly come together and tried to make this as easy and simple and duplicatable as we can for y'all. And so reach out, let us know. We have our brand new program that just released, 30-Day Breakaway, and different coaches are kind of going different routes with the devotionals and Bible studies with that. But regardless, we have a brand new program to do together. We have some type of faith-based journey to take with you through it. So I think that's all I got. I don't know if anyone else has, I'll kind of hand it over to Caroline if she has last. You good?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was incredible. And it's always like, I literally started tearing up listening to every single one of your stories, just because it is so crazy. And I feel like people look at us on Instagram and they're like, or, however we share our stories, and they're like, this can't be real, but it is. And I think it's just so cool how God can, I I feel like social media just gets so much bad rap, but there really is some amazing things that happen and can happen through it. And so, yeah, I want to just pray over you guys and pray over the decision you're making. And we'll let you guys go because we want to honor your time. So, Heavenly Father, God, thank you so much for all of these incredible women. Thank you for the ladies on our team who shared their stories tonight, God. I'm just so blessed and thankful to be able to call them friends and teammates and get to work with them every single day, God. It's just been so cool to see how faithful you've been in their lives and their families, and just how you've worked through their businesses, Lord, to serve people. And God, I just pray over the women who are watching this video. Maybe they're recording, maybe they're watching live, but God, I just pray for them and their hearts, God. I pray that you would just lead them, give them wisdom to take the right step, whether it's joining us or not joining us. Maybe it's just joining as a customer for now, Lord. I don't know what that looks like for them, but God, I just pray that whatever it is that they would do it for your glory and for the good of others, Lord, and whatever it is that you call them to do, Lord, I pray for just wisdom and guidance, and Lord, that whatever it is they do, they would do it with excellence, Lord, and just be disciplined and consistent in it, God. Lord, I'm just so thankful for them. I'm thankful that they're here and that they're watching this, Lord, and thankful just to share our stories tonight. God, we just love you so much, and I just thank you so much for all your many blessings and for all that you're doing, and it's in your precious name we pray. Amen. Thank you guys for being on. Have a good night.